Hello and welcome. Our Thursday night Carnivore Q&A live. We're going to be doing giveaways. We're going to be answering your questions. Before we get into it, just to get the ball rolling, please post your best question with hashtag ribeye. We're going to be giving away a Healing Humanity shirt in blue. Last week, we had a whole bunch of questions at the end. We felt terrible. We couldn't get to all of them. So post them in the beginning if you can. Your best question or your testimony of healing with hashtag ribeye in the chat. In order to win the shirt, you got to do hashtag ribeye, and you have to make sure that you are following each of the individuals you see here on the screen: Adam, Lynn, Ashley, Barb, and I think Dr. Nelson's here as well. There he is, Dr. Nelson. I have a link in the description for each person you see here on the screen. It only takes 2 seconds to follow each of them. Adam, Lynn, Dr. Nelson, Ashley, Barb, how's it going?
Fantastic.
Going great.
Great, thank you.
Guys
Awesome.
ready to answer some questions?
Yes. Let's do it.
All right. Hey, before we jump into the questions, Ashley, do we got any big events coming up?
No surprise announcements, just our big meat stock meetup we got coming up in May. It's going to be awesome. May 2nd and 3rd. I don't know, Kerry, do you know, are there still tickets left? I think there are. So I would snatch them up and make sure you get out there. Incredible lineup. I mean, pretty much anybody in the carnivore space is going to be out there. It's absolutely amazing. This is a great opportunity if you haven't met people in person, and it's so much fun to meet in person, hang out, and get to hear these amazing speakers. There might be a presentation from Mr. Kerry Mann as well. So make sure you come out and get your tickets for Meat Stock. If you haven't already, plan to be there. We're going to be there. It's going to be great. Meatstockconvention.com.
Use code Healing Humanity. And yeah, we made an announcement today. We're going to be doing a screening of Healing Humanity, the documentary, at Meatstock. So if you're attending Meatstock, shortly after that, we'll be screening it here at Montello Theater, and we're going to be announcing several other locations all around the world after that. I just posted about that on my community tab if you want more information. We're encouraging people to sign up for our newsletter. That's where we're going to be dropping all of the venues, movie theaters, locations, on demand, all of that stuff where you'll be able to watch Healing Humanity will be broadcasted out through our newsletter. Speaking of meetups, Dr. Nelson, what do you guys have? Any meetups coming up as well?
Yes. Well, we have a couple of screenings of the Cholesterol Code, one in St. Petersburg, one in Orlando. And then we have 2 meetups in New York, April 11th and 12th. I'll be there at both. Dr. Kills will be there at the Long Island meetup on 4/11. And then the Sunday, April 12th meetup will include watching a Mets game with Dr. Nelson and Louis Lotito. And then
Nice.
we're going to go to a Korean barbecue and teach them how to be carnivores. And then after those 4 things, Meat Stock, I'll meet you all there. I don't know if you noticed on the picture, my face is not there either. I get no respect.
Got to get him added. You can go to kiltsmeetup.com to find all of the Dr. Kiltz meetups coming up. All right. Should we jump into some questions?
Let's do it.
All right. Let's see what we got here. We got Benjamin, mostly whole foods. Since being carnivore, I found numerous health problems and dropped over 50 kilograms, all down to the influence of Mr. Dante Ferrigno. Love it. Dante Ferrigno was the reason I went carnivore. Adam, I think he had a big part in your journey too. Is that right?
Exactly the same thing. Yep.
I always ask people like, hey, how did you find out about carnivore? And a lot is that path. It's usually Dante Ferrigno, and then I watch a bunch of Dr. Berry videos. One of those combinations. So that's pretty awesome to hear. Congratulations, Benjamin. Thanks for sharing. Laura said, excited to hear the announcement that we will see Healing Humanity at Meat Stock. Yeah, it's going to be exciting. Looking forward to sharing that with everyone there.
Yeah. I wanted to say hi to Lady _LDS in the chat said, new here, just started carnivore this week. So wanted to say hello and welcome.
Nice.
Love it. All right. Here's a question. Tom says, none of you look old enough, but has anyone known an elderly woman benefit from weekly microdose of testosterone? Anyone?
Dr. Nelson question.
Yeah, I haven't heard of anyone at that age getting any hormone replacement, which if you're going to do hormone replacement in females, it's not only estrogen, progesterone, many of them will benefit from testosterone. Highly controversial topic even in the carnivore world, because even some carnivores don't believe HRT are necessary. Some others strongly believe it's so. Dr. Elizabeth Bright and Dr. Kills are on the camp of no, by the way.
All right. Bucky Badger. Question, when will the movie be out? Just kidding. I seen the post earlier about that. I have nightmares about that question. I wake up in the middle of the night. When will it come out? When will the movie be out in Des Moines, Iowa? When will the movie be out in Chicago? The good news is, like I said, we made several announcements today. Make sure you sign up for our newsletter. There's a link in the description for the newsletter as well. We don't send you out any emails unless they're really important, but we're going to be updating everyone there with lots of updates to come on where you can go watch Healing Humanity. So if you can't make it to Meat Stock, I know everyone can't make it. There's plenty of other places it's going to be showing after that we're going to be sharing very soon.
Is it going to be a similar thing to the cholesterol code?
It is. Yes, that's the plan.
And you don't have to discuss it, but you get my email.
I did get your email. Yes.
Okay. All right.
Amanda, question. Can you heal EDS, rheumatoid arthritis, and fibromyalgia eating just ground beef? I can't really afford steaks, and I am strict beef, butter, salt. So all I eat is beef and butter. Is it nutritious enough? What do you think on that one, Lynn?
Well, we have to define heal, but you can definitely improve these conditions. So we are really careful in using that term, because especially when you're dealing with something like EDS, autoimmune disease, we don't know for sure whether they can be healed. Healed would mean that it goes away and you can go back to doing what you were doing before, and it's not going to come back. So many of us can put these things into remission, can see improvement. I would definitely recommend connecting with Amy Hosp, who has seen tremendous improvement with her EDS. But yes, you can put them in remission. And she initially was in a wheelchair. She had to start with microwaving hot dogs and microwaving eggs, and was able to improve to the point where she could ditch her wheelchair and is no longer, she still occasionally has some dislocations, but nothing like before. So I would say, if this is what you can afford, yes, go ahead and do that. When you start feeling better, you have more energy, you may be able to branch out, but it is definitely better than eating the processed food and eating the carbs, which are very inflammatory.
Good stuff. Thank you, Lynn. Question for Adam. I just started Carnivore, plus downloaded a fasting app. Is it normal to have a headache?
Yes, actually. It's very common for many people when they're just starting the carnivore diet to have headaches. I don't know that I would recommend fasting right off the bat until you've done some adaptation, roughly 30 to 45 days. Then maybe consider it. And you may not even, you may notice that you don't even feel like fasting at that point. So I would just wait maybe a little bit on the fasting, but to help with the headaches, it's typically an electrolyte issue. So make sure that you're having enough salt and potentially supplementing with electrolytes like Salter, ALTR, and you can get those electrolytes at livesalter.com. There's other ones like LMT that you can get in the grocery store as well. Some people make their own, and there's lots of different ways that you can get electrolytes. But the main thing that you want to do is to get a decent, clean salt and make sure that you're having enough sodium, and at least during that first initial 3 to 4 weeks.
All right. Thank you, Adam. All right. So we're doing a giveaway of a Healing Humanity shirt in blue. For those that just jumped on, please post your best question with hashtag ribeye or your testimony of healing. All right. Question for Barb. Is it possible to overhydrate, drink too much liquid in one day? If so, what harm can it cause? What's the best amount of daily liquid, water or whatever?
Well, that's a good question. It's got a few parts to it. So yes, it is possible to overhydrate, to drink too much. As far as harm that it can cause, I mean, it's going to dilute all of your minerals, everything that's coming in, for one thing. I think in extreme cases, it can cause a lot of damage. I know Tim Noakes in South Africa talks about runners that have overhydrated to the point that they lost their lives. And I'll let, after I finish, I'm going to punt this to Dr. Nelson to get the official reason on that. And as far as the best amount of daily liquid, personally, I believe drinking to thirst. And you may have to, especially if you've just started carnivore, really pay attention to your body signals to figure out, hey, am I thirsty? Am I hungry? And also to watch your electrolyte balance to make sure that you're not just drinking water, that you're getting enough sodium, potassium, and magnesium. But Dr. Nelson, can you please address what kind of harm overhydration can cause?
So there are a couple of very vital electrolytes doctors measure all the time, commonly, right? And sodium is one. If you drink too much, you're going to dilute your own sodium. What's the ultimate risk of that? Usually seizures are commonly seen when you're approaching the low 120s on sodium. It's not good to be diluted that much. The other one is arrhythmias. Potassium is a very needed electrolyte for the good electromagnetic function of the heart. And if you dilute that too much, so yes, it can cause harm. Don't try to, this thing about eating twice your weight in ounces or half your weight, I don't even know because I don't follow it. Don't try to shoot for a gallon of water a day. If you drink to thirst, usually you'll be in the ballpark of what your personal needs are, and try never to drink, or not to only drink water. Probably you should use some sort of electrolytes. It could be, listen, it could be table salt if you want to put table salt. I wouldn't, for a couple of reasons, but there are many commercially available electrolytes. Salter is great. This is what I have right now because Kill Cell electrolytes haven't come back out, but they're coming. And I make my own as well. And I take magnesium separately. So, but overhydration, think you're diluting your electrolytes. Water never moves in your body by itself. It always pulls different electrolytes with it, whether it's from your body out to into the urine or intestinal tract, or from one space to the other in the body. And diluting, particularly sodium, can be very detrimental and can cause death, like Barbara said. And by the way, medical disclaimer, this is for educational purposes only. It's not medical advice. I'm not your doctor. You're not my patient.
There we go on the screen.
There it is.
All right. Question for Ashley. Is it a bad idea to just go to a farm, hop the fence, and start chewing on a dairy cow?
Why is it that I get that one? I think you have some experience in that there, Kerry.
No,
Maybe
I
a
do have
little?
a question. I do have a good question for you though, Ashley. We have a lot of new carnivores that are just starting out. What are some good sort of go-to meal ideas, options for people that are just starting out? They can't quite wrap their brain around what actually to eat on carnivore.
Sure. And I think there was a question that was asking about ground beef being okay to eat on carnivore, and absolutely. I mean, it's whatever. Ruminant animals is the best source for most of us in America. That's going to be a beef option because that's the most readily available. But of course, any meat is great. So fish and chicken and pork, it's all okay on carnivore. But ruminant animals are definitely the beat. So goat, lamb, beef being the best. As far as cheap cuts of meat, I'm a huge proponent myself of finding the deals. And I look at the ads every single week. I find where the best deals are, and I get my ground beef or in fact, this week we had, again, I'm in Texas. I know I'm lucky. We had brisket on sale for $2.99 a pound. Brisket's great. I smoke a lot of brisket. I ground 40 pounds. I ground 40 pounds of brisket over the weekend to make into my ground beef for $2.99 a pound. And I freeze a lot of it, and I've got it stored now. So to me, that's how I like to do things. As far as I buy in bulk, I cut it up. I cut my steaks up myself. I portion them up how I want. I seal them up and I throw them in the freezer. And to
I
me,
wonder how that tastes. Ground.
Brisket?
What is
Brisket?
ground brisket? Yeah.
It's absolutely fantastic because there's a huge, okay, you know how you get 80-20 in the grocery store? This is going to be more like 60-40, probably. Very large fat content, but it tastes delicious. Just grilled some up hamburgers. In fact, that's what I'm having tonight after the live stream. Very, very, very good.
I'm going to have to buy a big meat grinder just to do that.
There you go. I got lucky. I have one of those, and for those, here's another tip. I have one of those KitchenAid mixers.
Okay.
It's no longer used for baking, but you can get a grinding attachment for those, and it's probably not as robust as a big dedicated meat grinder. So depending on how much meat you're actually grinding, but for me, even the brisket worked fine through it. And get a grinding attachment for less than $100 on Amazon.
Awesome. Love it. Thank you, Ashley. Every time I talk to you, my mouth starts watering and I want to go smoke up some meat now. You got me inspired.
TMI.
My leg and the cow leg there hopping the fence.
The brisket. You got me at the brisket. All right. Question for Lynn. Lynn, do you have lipedema as well as mast cell activation syndrome? Trying to get a diagnosis, but it's so hard.
So I've had a little mild in the past, but one thing that I've had more than lipedema was lipomas, and they're really painful for sure. I know that they have gone away with eating carnivore. So, and I completely understand it's very difficult. It took me 5 years to get a diagnosis of mast cell activation syndrome. But if if you can at least do some things for yourself to help you feel better in the meantime. And so definitely, low histamine lion diet really helped me. But I know sometimes you need to have a doctor on board, because sometimes you do need to have some medication, and it can be really challenging to, even once you do have a diagnosis, to figure out specifically what's going to help you. So I've never one of those that say never do medication. If you need it, then yeah, get a good doctor who knows what they're doing and can help you.
Good stuff. All right. Thank you, Lynn. Dr. Joan 100, Homestead House daughter's voice tone and cadence is just like their dad's.
Oh, true.
Yep.
Sorry.
Yep.
They both sold me last year. How you feel about fast food beef patties on the go? Are they real or made of pink goo? Oh, this is a controversial question that always gets me in trouble. I have eaten many fast food patties. I watched a Dr. Berry video of him going through a McDonald's drive-thru, and for me, if it's good enough for Dr. Berry, it's good enough for me if I'm on the run. Obviously, it's always better to cook at home and do the best you can at home. But from what I understand it, like McDonald's, for example, it's 100% beef. They don't use any seed oils. But who knows? I don't know. Adam, what do you think? You get any fast food patties?
I do all the time. So I don't feel like I'm experiencing eating pink goo. I feel like it's real meat, but who knows?
Well, your gut would probably tell you if it was pink goo. I
Right.
know my gut shouts like crazy, even if I have some seed oils, and so I'm okay even with my MCAS with McDonald's hamburgers. The patties, I should say.
I have found that most any fast food place that serves hamburgers will do just the patty by itself, but there's a few that obviously I prefer over others that I think they're a little higher quality ground beef personally. So we've got a place called there's a couple of different like little smaller chain burger places, and so if I'm lucky enough to have one of those around, I'll generally choose that over McDonald's, but I've had plenty of McDonald's too.
Good stuff. All right. Question for Dr. Nelson, or I guess anyone here. Does anyone know of a list of doctors in Alabama that treats with carnivore, or maybe more broadly, is there any sort of resource or list of carnivore-friendly doctors anywhere?
So you may find a couple of databases in a few places. drkills.com is one. I don't know how updated that is. The Society of Metabolic Health Practitioners and the Nutrition Network have some databases from basically all over the world. I don't know how updated it is as well. Sometimes trial and error, just calling around. Mitch, Old Guy Carnivore, just found a carnivore doctor in his hometown in Melbourne, Florida. It's a 68-year-old physician who has been carnivore for a long time, and he is now Old Guy Carnivore's doctor. I don't know that he's listed anywhere. If you live near Melbourne, Florida, his name is Dr. Kimmel, like the comedian, but not as obnoxious.
Yeah. I want to add one thing too, like with the Society of Metabolic Health Practitioners, even though they may not list that they're carnivore, a lot of them are very carnivore friendly. And so I would say, even if they say that they're, low carb, high fat, keto, or whatever, we have on our membership site, Healing Humanity Life, we have Dr. Laura Buchanan on all the time, and she's not strictly carnivore, but she's very knowledgeable and treats patients with carnivore. So a lot of these doctors
don't have to be carnivore themselves, as long as they understand from the patient's perspective what the patient is looking for.
Yeah. And any doctor, as long as they respect your decision to be carnivore, that's really what's most important. But having them understand it helps.
Yep. One thing I would like to add to that, since you brought up Dr. Buchanan, she is also in the Society of Metabolic Health Practitioners, but she also has a practice, and it's called Toward, like going toward something, toward.health. And I believe they're licensed in all 50 states to practice medicine, and they're carnivore friendly. And then also Amanda Decker is also licensed in quite a number of states at clearpathmedical.net. And both of those ladies,
Amazing.
You'll see them frequently in Healing Humanity Life.
Yeah, we have them as experts for Q&As a lot. Yeah.
And you can get 50% off your first month now, promo code below.
Amazing.
All right. Good transition.
By the way, we just lost this week a carnivore doctor in Arizona.
Oh, no.
Dr. Doc Nally.
Oh,
That's sad.
sorry to hear that.
I see a couple
All right.
there too about Dr. Baker's Rivero as well. That's another option out there.
Yeah, Rivero.com. All right, here's a question for Ashley. I'm giving this one to Ashley strategically because I know the answer. Assuming someone knows nothing, what is the best way to get started on the carnivore diet?
Assume you know, you think I know the answer, huh?
I'm thinking about the 30-day series video you did.
I was wondering if that's where you're going with. I did do that. I like that series. I need to probably do a few updates to it, but on my channel on Carnivore Brothers, you can find a 30-day starter YouTube series, and basically it's a video a day, about 15 minutes. It's got a tip and a trick and encouragement every single day. To me, the biggest challenge for anyone starting carnivore is that first 30 days. Getting through that first 30 days is the best goal that you can set for yourself, because at the end of the 30 days, I know you'll want to continue and go further than that, because you'll be feeling different. You're going to start seeing the impacts of it. So yeah, that's one I would definitely point to. Thanks, Kerry, for the shout out on that. But yeah, it's 30 days is the most critical thing. So set your mind, make sure you give yourself a solid commitment of 30 days. Don't quit after 3 days. Don't quit after 4 days. Give it a good solid 30 days.
Absolutely. The other thing I would add too is before you get started, make sure you get all of your questions answered. Don't just jump into it. And then the last thing I'll say is 50% off healinghumanity.life right now. No, I'm just joking, but community is critical. Community is a big thing for a lot of people. So even if you just need to get in a community, maybe for just 30 days, and then you're good to go. And there's not just healinghumanity.life. Dr. Kiltz has an amazing community. There's free communities. I used YouTube, Dante Ferrigno's YouTube channel, and chatting with people in the chat. There's lots of communities out there, but that's a key as well, I'd suggest.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Kerry has a course in our community as well on foundations.
Yes. Very good course. And I love the community answer too, Kerry, because honestly, that is a lot of times you need that inspiration, and that can come in a lot of different ways. But the questions, even I see some of this go through, and people asking questions in the chat, and before we've had a chance to get to them, you got many other people who have been carnivores for a long time answering those questions. And so a lot of us answering the questions are only because we've just got a little further head start than you do. We're still, some of us, trying to figure some of this out on our own, but we've been doing it now for 2 or 3 years versus 2 or 3 days. And so we've got a little bit of more mistakes that we've made, so we can help others.
Absolutely. All right. Amanda has a question for Barb. Can you overdo it with electrolytes? I usually always add raw, unflavored electrolytes to all of my water.
Again, I think with anything you can overdo it. Yeah. I don't know that it's incredibly harmful or dangerous, but you just might not feel great. I know Adam's experience with using salt for a while, and it didn't make him feel good. So I would say use electrolytes as you feel like using them. 2-3 packets a day for using 27 a day. I would say that might be excessive. What do you think, Adam?
Yeah. What is it? The RDA is like 2,000 milligrams a day or something like that. But carnivores, they say roughly 5,000. Really, it's everybody's an individual experiment. So, you're going to want to figure out what that number is for yourself. Yes, you can have too much electrolytes, but typically your body's really, really good at regulating the quantities of electrolytes that you have in your body. So there's usually not a concern with this, but for some people, it actually can be. My experience with having too much salt was had nausea for over a year, and I couldn't figure it out. So it wasn't anything that was really life-threatening. It was just really annoying more than anything. But I eventually found out what it was, stopped the salt for about a year, and now I've been able to reintroduce that.
Good stuff. All right. Thank you, Barb. We are going to do a giveaway right now for a Healing Humanity shirt in color blue. And while we're doing that, if you want to get your questions ready for the next round, we're going to do another giveaway. Post your questions with hashtag LIFE, LIFE. Here we go. Drum roll. The winner of a Healing Humanity shirt in color blue is Joyful Spirit. Adam, how can Joyful Spirit claim their prize?
Well, Kerry, joyful spirit can go to healinghumanity.movie/giveaway, fill out the form, and Ashley will promptly send you your shirt. Congratulations.
Congratulations. All right. We're going to be doing the Healing Humanity. Well, we did the Healing Humanity shirt in blue. We're going to be doing a 30-day free membership to healinghumanity.life. Post your best question with #life or your testimony. And for a chance to win, it is our community. We do about 12 Zoom calls a week. We have on doctors, experts, individuals. We just did our big Inspire Together call, which we do every Thursday. And if you don't win, you can get 50% off right now using the promo code on the screen. All right. Our next question. This one's for me. #ribeye. Homestead How, you ate carnivore on a cruise. Is it possible to do it at a theme park? It is possible. Not easy, but it is possible. I'm trying to remember. I went to a park with the girls and they had smoked turkey leg.
Yeah.
That was pretty awesome.
Yep.
But it's
Like
ridiculous and it's expensive. We went to a roller coaster park.
Six Flags.
And you could Six Flags, yeah, and you could leave. So we brought a cooler. I think we brought Powerball with. We brought a cooler with. You could leave. You could go out to a restaurant or bring it with you as sort of a plan B. But yeah, smoked turkey legs is kind of a go-to at several of the big parks. It might be an option.
Yeah, that's what Dave and I did at Disney World, is smoked, and we just we shared. And so even though it's a little kind of pricey, it was like $14 or something, but that's divided between 2 people.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I
Those
mean,
things are huge.
Fast. It
I
doesn't
would-
have to be an eating day.
Yep. I always also bring along, like Kerry said, some beef jerky or something like that. Something easy that you can take with you.
Yeah. I know I read the rules for Disney World when we went, and about bringing your own food into the park, and they're cool with it as long as you don't have to cook it.
Nice.
Or just stash it.
So if you bring a raw steak, you need to eat it raw.
I was just thinking, I can imagine Dr. Kiltz walking through the raw tomahawk ribeye, chewing on it. It's well within the rules. So, all right. Question for Adam: what has been your best deal find on meat?
Well, probably the little slider patties from Sam's Club, $5.99 a pound, and it's ground up ribeyes. That's probably the best one that I could find. Now, I'm nowhere close to the deals that Ashley finds. Like, he's like the super coupon dude or something.
I'm gonna answer to that as well, because everybody listening on this live stream right now, if you're looking for a great deal on meat, Easter weekend is coming. Easter weekend is absolutely hands down the best time to buy ribeyes. They almost always go on sale for an extremely good deal. A lot of people do prime rib. That is a draw for almost every grocery store. They'll put their ribeyes on a huge sale. Here in Texas, $4.99 a pound for ribeyes, $6.99 a pound, $8.99 a pound in other parts of the country. It's almost half price or sometimes more than what you find normally. So Easter weekend is coming. Look, check your ads, your grocery store ads. You will find huge discounts, and that's when I buy a lot of my ribeyes.
If I may, I don't get anything from this. There's an app called Flip, FLIPP, and that with your zip code collects all the circulars of the stores around you, and you can take a look at all the specials from the comfort of your home.
Good tip.
Question for Lynn. Since MCAS was mentioned, what is used to diagnose? Any recommendations on type of provider to see to get a proper diagnosis? I started cooking from frozen and freeze after I cook when I food prep.
Yeah, the diagnostic criteria has kind of changed over the years, but generally they want to see whether or not your symptoms respond to antihistamines. A doctor may or may not ask you that. It used to be that they would want to run a serum tryptase when you're in the middle of having an acute reaction, and that's a little challenging. But now they know that the serum tryptase is not always elevated for people with MCAS. They also will, but they'll do it anyways. They will also ask you when you have a reaction, you need to get this pre-ordered, to also do a 24-hour urine collection. So they're looking for mast cell mediators that will be put out in your urine when you've had an acute reaction. So seeing an allergist is the right doctor to see. I would definitely ask them if they are familiar with MCAS. The allergist that diagnosed me, I was only his second patient in his over 20 years of his specialty that he diagnosed. So I found that he didn't really know very much about it, but usually they can help you at least get the diagnosis. I then ended up going to a naturopathic doctor that had treated more MCAS, and saw that doctor just to get the treatment. But I would also recommend, it's kind of a little bit of a clunky book, but Dr. Lawrence Afrin is one of the foremost doctors. He has a book that he wrote quite a few years ago about MCAS. I think it's called something about Occam's razor, but he goes through system by system and shows how he diagnosed patients and the different types of treatments. It's just a fascinating book. It'll help educate you so you can communicate better with whatever doctor you end up seeing.
Good stuff. And we got a super chat from USMCPD. Release the movie already.
Yes,
we
Kerry.
did.
Man, come on,
It's
dude.
out. Meat Stock. Come and see it.
Order
Theater.
it.
Awesome. All right. We have a question for Dr. Nelson that's kind of embarrassing. I have a question. It's kind of embarrassing. I have been on Carnivore since this past November. I had a problem going to the bathroom, number 2. I actually had to go to the hospital. It took me 3 days to go.
I'm assuming if the problem going to the bathroom, I have to assume it was diarrhea, not constipation, but please correct me if I'm wrong. A lot of people go through an adaptation period. It's not always directly related to the amount of fat, but to the change of diet, the changing microbiome, and often also to the amount of fat that you're taking. So I'm sorry you went to the hospital for 3 days. It took me 3 days to go, so I'm assuming it was constipation.
Yeah. They made another comment that said they didn't go for 2 weeks, but they didn't say if they were having pain or not.
Yeah, that would be my question. I'm assuming since you went to the hospital, you were probably in a lot of pain because, and I went for the longest I ever went was 14 days. And I wasn't uncomfortable at all, but I wasn't also happy with that. But just wanted to offer something if there continues to be a problem. And of course, we've probably heard a lot about altering your fat. But there's some other things you can do because it's not just what you put in your GI tract, it's the health of your nervous system that can impact you with a transit and how well your gut is moving things through. So something super easy to do is a castor oil pack that you can put on your abdomen, either over your liver, basically anywhere in your abdomen, or you can put some drops in your belly button. The type of fatty acid in castor oil actually helps your parasympathetic nervous system, and which helps with smooth muscle contraction and function. So it can help move things through. When I use a castor oil patch, I end up having a bowel movement the next day very consistently. Also working on and also supporting your parasympathetic nervous system with breathing exercises, things. A lot of times you're in fight or flight. When you're in fight or flight, sometimes you can get constipated. So working on that aspect as well is really helpful. Do some breathing exercises, support the nervous system, inhale, but exhale longer and just kind of calm things down. That will help support the nervous system aspect of your bowel movements.
This morning in our morning live, we had a Dr. Driscoll I don't know if you're familiar with her, Lynn. She's an expert in POTS. So we were talking about POTS, but we touched on a couple of things like gastroparesis. We touched on vagal nerve, and gastroparesis. If it was present, it's not only the stomach; it's the whole gastrointestinal motility that gets affected. And so, if you want to go and listen, we mentioned a few of those related things. We talked a little bit about histamine intolerance, MCAS, mainly because I asked her, and a few other things related to POTS.
Yeah. So you have to remember we didn't talk about the gut-brain axis, and that the gut is our second brain. And so it's really important to remember that there's more. It's more than just the what you put in it. It's this nervous system too. So approach it from both. I used to coach patients all the time with IBS on doing box breathing. So look up box breathing. That's another technique that's been known to help support the nerves of the GI tract.
One thing I want to add too, real quick, I got to brag on Lynn a little bit. So Lynn's, she's like the gut guru. So she's actually did a lecture for the Nutrition Network, their new gut health course that they have out. So I'm not sure, Lynn, when they're going to add that to part of the course, but it should be coming soon. Is that right?
My understanding is that the course is already out. They asked me like very late in the game, like they were a few days out from releasing the course, if I would do the introductory anatomy and physiology lecture. And so the understanding was they were going to add it to the beginning of their module. So I'm just waiting to hear. I just submitted it.
Are you sure it's out? They've been announcing it, and selling it, but I don't know if it's necessarily out because Dr. Kills recorded. Dr. Kills just recorded just maybe 2 weeks ago his part for the gut course.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's out. It may be out. You might be right.
Yeah, maybe. I haven't looked, and I don't know if they're decided to wait until because I was the last one, to submit the lecture. So, yeah. So keep an eye out for it. Just go to the Nutrition Network website. You can sign up for it.
If you want to know all the ins and outs, literally, of your gut, and this lecture that Lynn did will make your head spin. So lots of really, really good information, very, very knowledgeable.
But I hope that it was accessible. I did run it through Adam and Barb just to double check, and I'm hoping it's accessible. And if you're going to blush if someone says anus,
Very good stuff. So if you want to learn more, go there and buy the course.
The funniest thing will be if they are talking about your anus.
Right?
All right. I have, Ashley, your worst nightmare in the form of a question. You ready?
When's the documentary coming out? Oh, no.
No. Second worst nightmare. Could someone be allergic to beef?
Yeah, that is a pretty big nightmare right there. I have heard yes, and I've heard that there's a couple of different Lone Star tick bite that can cause this, but I know there's a few that are in the carnivore space right now that are still being successful on carnivore, working around some of that. I've also heard it does go away, so it can be temporary, but I don't know if there's a medical Dr. Nelson, I don't know if there's a medical term that somebody's actually allergic to beef, or if that's just something that I know it's very rare.
So I'm going to make an explanation pointing out a difference, except it doesn't have any practical application, just your understanding. Nobody's really allergic to the beef. Once you get bitten by this tick that introduces some antigens into your body confuses the meat antigens for the antigens of what the tick injected in you. And now it's going to be reacting to the beef, but it's not really an allergy to the beef. You're reacting to, your body gets confused. It's called molecular or cellular mimicry. And so nobody's really allergic to the beef. Even if an allergist tells you it's to the beef, it might not be exactly to the beef. It might be a similar situation. It's very rare to be allergic to meat.
Very rare.
And I know someone who is very sensitive to meat gets some reactions. And I suspect what he may have is actually either some histamine intolerance or something.
Yeah, I was going to say it could be
related
histamine.
to that. And you met him in Seattle because he's my niece's husband, and I brought them to that meetup. But he's able to tolerate lamb and goat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so if it's alpha-gal, which is the tick, issue, check out Emily Penton. She was diagnosed with alpha-gal and she has done amazingly well. But yeah, it could be a histamine reaction. It could have to do with the freshness of the beef that you're eating. It could have to do with whether or not it's ground. So if you have a histamine issue, you may experience a reaction, and it's because of the histamine aspect. And that is something you can definitely modify by tweaking the freshness of the meat. And if you need to eat it very fresh, then freeze it. Don't have your leftovers in the fridge. And you may even need to avoid ground beef because that is higher in histamine because of the surface area of the meat.
How about raw, Lynn?
I think you have to be careful if you have histamine problems with raw. It just is very individual, and it depends on if it's really fresh, that you should do fine. But even like fish, the fish that says it's fresh and is in the grocery store on ice, if you're real histamine sensitive, that's not fresh enough. Some people, if they want to try fish, they need to have it be, within like 30 minutes of being caught or flash frozen. So it varies depending on how sensitive you are.
All right. Question for Barb. Jeff's wife, 73, asking for a friend who is a longtime vegan. She is starting to eat meat, but I guess the first question is, believes vegetables are necessary. And number 2, can you explain oxalate dumping possibly?
Okay. Well, that's exciting that someone who's been vegan long-term is exploring the idea of eating meat and starting to do that. And that's really hard, especially if somebody has been vegan or vegetarian long-term. And of course, they're going to have that ideology that vegetables are necessary. I would say that they're not. Vegetables are carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are not essential nutrients. We don't have to have them. Yes, there are nutrients in vegetables, but they're much more bioavailable in meat. So you can get a lot more from meat than you can ever get from vegetables. And oxalate dumping. So plants contain phytonutrients and anti-nutrients, and one of those are oxalates. And what happens is over time, especially if somebody has eaten lots of high oxalate foods, lots of vegetables like spinach, chocolate, there's a whole list of things. Almonds, yes, that's a big thing for vegetarians and vegans. And what happens is when you stop eating those, your body starts kind of shaking those loose. And it's Sally K. Norton has the best information on that. Check out her book, Toxic Superfoods, as she goes into detail on this. But it's really individual. Oh, Dr. Nelson has it up. It's very individual. Somebody may not experience oxalate dumping. Somebody may be carnivore for 6 months and then notice it. And some people several years later will go through oxalate dumping or periods of it. And that looks different for different people. A lot of people will have like crystals forming, like crusties in your eyes. You can have joint pain. I personally had a lot of plaque buildup on my teeth all of a sudden that I didn't realize at the time was most likely oxalate dumping. So that can manifest in a whole host of ways.
Good stuff. Thank you, Barb. All right. Question for Adam. Did you have to stop iodine? I think I remember you saying this. What were your symptoms?
Yeah, actually, when I was taking iodine based on Dr. Berry's recommendations a couple of years ago, it was just 2 drops of Lugol's, 2%. And I didn't have any issues with the iodine then, but I didn't really notice any benefit from taking it. After I read Dr. Brownstein's book, instead of getting blood tests done, the iodine load test done, I decided to treat myself and go with his recommendation of 50 milligrams of iodine per day. And that turned out to be too much for me. And I actually had hives. I broke out in hives all over my body. It was sort of like pimples that became little open sores. So that actually happened twice. And I did narrow it down to it was the actual iodine. So that was the symptoms that I was having. So needless to say, I don't mess around with the iodine anymore. And I don't recommend that anyone else does unless you actually get the testing done to determine whether you actually need the iodine or not.
Test, don't guess, because as you discovered, if you're treating something, in this case iodine, and you start taking a lot just because, you might run into problem. See if you're deficient, then you can adjust the amount that you take.
Yeah, Dr. Brownstein made a compelling case in his book that I read, and it was based on that is what I made that decision on. So
And I've read a couple of his books. I've read a couple of his book. I have one from 25 years ago. I still have it in my office. I disagree with him in the part of recommending without testing. However, he does recommend a test.
Right.
Some people just
I
go
bypass that part.
Yeah.
Do not recommend.
Yeah. In fact, in his book, in the back, in the appendix, he does have 2 labs that you can order the test from. That at least they are at labs in the U.S. and it's $70 to get the iodine loading test. So it's fairly affordable.
All right. We got a question for Lynn. I have a friend that is very ill and overweight. Other than the 30-day start, what would you recommend to help him be successful? One-on-one coaching, etc.? ?
Oh yeah, definitely. Very ill means a lot of different things. Very overweight, being very ill also makes it really challenging when you're trying to lose weight. And I can definitely say I lost a lot of weight without even exercising. And I would say don't push them to exercise, but support is definitely something that would be helpful. I would say coaching would be great if he needs coaching. Joining a membership site where he can get community support I think is really important too. And it may be a good start because it's a lot more affordable. And that way he can glean from tons of people who've walked the path that he's walked and participate in Zoom calls, ask questions, and feel supported that way. And we have coaches in our membership site too. So then if coaching is needed, absolutely. But I would say encouragement, take it slow, show yourself grace. You're not going to heal everything in 30 days. You're just getting started and your body's still adapting at that 30-day point. And so realistic expectations are also really important. A lot of the doctors say, give it a good 90 days. And the longer you go, the better you're going to feel. And he's going to be a lot more capable of doing it on his own.
All right. And we got one for Dr. Nelson. I like your before and after background. We need carnivore-friendly doctors in West Virginia, very resistant to change locally. So a compliment for Dr. Nelson, followed by another question. How much?
By the way, let me answer her, although I did put in the chat. I was briefly licensed in West Virginia. I have worked in West Virginia, by the way. in an emergency room.
And then we have a question. So how much is too much salt?
Is that a good answer? Most it seems that most carnivores land between 5 and 7,000 milligrams of sodium a day, counting the sodium part. It's not the only one, but salt to taste. Some people like Dave Feldman take, I don't know what the amount is. It's like 10,000 milligrams or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, for me, I knew I was having too much when I would get nauseous, upset stomach, and then also my legs would cramp. So when I took salt away, then my legs didn't cramp up. So there's certain things that your body will do that'll indicate to you that maybe you're having too much salt. You just kind of have to try to get a little bit more in tune with your body, and hopefully, there's something that's indicative of having too much salt for you if you suspect that might be the issue.
All right. And Ashley, how do you deal with sweets and carb cravings on a carnivore diet?
Yeah, that's a tough one. It's something a lot of people struggle with because that's probably one of the most addicting things that we deal with is the sweet treats, right? So I always make this recommendation as a sweetaholic right here. It took a while to get past that, and so longevity helps for sure. But initially, while you're still having those cravings, have good simple snacks around. Bacon, butter were my go-tos. If I was starting to have a sweet craving or something, I just wanted to scour, because my family wasn't carnivore at the time. If I want to scour through the pantry and get something that wasn't carnivore, I went to bacon. I went to even biting a piece of butter, and that satisfied that.
Or a pinch of salt.
Pinch of salt. The other piece of advice that somebody gave me, and I did it, was again, sometimes that's just a little, you just need to give it a little bit of time and you get over that craving. So they recommended if you're able, do 20 jumping jacks or do something just in the form of an exercise to get your mind off of it for a second. And that helped me a couple of times too. And so the discipline at first is really important, but it does get easier. Those cravings do fade. And I'm amazed 3 years into my carnivore journey that I can look at things that I would never have been able to resist before, and it doesn't even tempt me anymore. So it does get better. You just got to get through the long haul.
I can attest to that.
Except for brisket.
Yeah, but make sure you're eating enough. If it's early on and you're still dealing with cravings, do not restrict. I think that's one mistake that some people early on make, is you're in this restrictive mindset from all those decades of being told that that's what it takes. Don't restrict, because you need to make sure you're eating enough.
Good stuff. All right, we're going to do our drawing here. This is for 30-day membership, healinghumanity.life. If you didn't win or we didn't get your questions, you can still use the promo code on the screen or in the description below. Gretchen Hayes 3893. Adam, how can Gretchen Hayes 3893 claim their prize?
You're killing me, Kerry. Gretchen Hayes 3893 can go to healinghumanity.movie/giveaway, fill out the form, and Lynn will promptly send you your code. Congratulations.
Congratulations. And we got one last message here from Lions Carnivore Podcast. What an absolute great panel. Well, thank you so much.
Very nice.
We do have a great panel. If you enjoyed listening to these individuals, please make sure you follow them. I have a link in the description below for Adam, Lynn, Dr. Nelson, Ashley, and Barb's channel. Do you guys have anything new or exciting coming up you want to mention before we wrap up?
I do.
Yeah, Lynn, what do you got?
I finally posted my video today showing all the before from our house that we bought. and the Frank Lloyd Wright inspired house. And so check that out on my channel. You can see, you get a walkthrough of this crazy house. And
Will the after shots of your house be done before the documentary? Released?
Some of them, yeah, because we have a lot of work to do, and I will be doing an outside tour too. I have my my background with the deer, that's my front yard. So I'll be doing about an outdoor tour too, and just to show everybody.
Can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
It's a great property. Congrats.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're loving it.
Dr. Nelson, what do you have coming up?
Well, we have a community called the Kills Mighty Tribe. Of course, you may know, you may be a member. If you're not a member, membership is free. And if you can bring up the picture I have there, Kerry, we are doing our first Kills Mighty Tribe Sardine Challenge starting tomorrow.
Oh, I'm out.
So come
Are you
and join
participating,
us.
Dr. Nelson?
Are you doing it, Dr. Nelson?
I am. I have 20 sardine cans ready to go.
And it's 3 days. All right. Can't wait to hear the results.
Love it. Ashley, got anything coming up?
Meat stock coming up, and that's a big one for us. And I will just go ahead and add too, because again, I'm seeing a lot of questions that we didn't get to, but I know that you've mentioned the discount code below, but there's always questions being answered in the community. Was it 12 Zoom calls a week in the community? So if you didn't get your question answered here, there's definitely other places, and including our community, that you can get those questions answered.
I love it. And Barb, you had a great interview with Renee. What, you got anything new coming up?
Yeah, I should have one posting tomorrow. And I also wanted to shout out the cholesterol code screening in Chicago. I just found out today from Jenny that Dave Feldman is going to be there at that screening. So that's pretty cool.
Awesome.
Cool. Nice.
Excellent.
Good stuff. Well, thank you all, the panel, for answering these questions. Thank you for asking the questions in the chat. We appreciate you all. And we'll see you on the next one. We do this every Thursday at 6 p.m. Central. Thank you guys so much. Have a good night.
Bye for now.